Hi everybody, welcome back to our second home learning video for this week, the 18th of May. So we're going to carry on today learning about area, but we're going to be drawing some different shapes today. So what you will need today is you'll need your pencil and a ruler if you've got one, and some squared paper if you can manage to find some. Don't worry if you can't find any squared paper, you can just have a go at putting some squares inside your shape. Don't worry if they're not quite equal, it is quite tricky. But if you can get yourself some squared paper, a pencil and a ruler, that'd be great. Pause the video if you need to go and get those things now, and then we'll carry on. Okay, so I'm going to draw myself some shapes with different areas today. So the first one is 8 squares. I can do any shape I want to draw, so long as it's got 8 squares inside it. So I could go along 4 and down 2. That would have myself an area of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or I could just start drawing different ways. See if I can make myself an area of 8 squares. Oh, let's see how many I've got so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, so if I went 1, 2, 3, oh, I'd have 7 if I went that way. So I might need to go, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I might need to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it doesn't have to be a rectangle or square. You could make them there, so long as your corners are at right angles. Okay, and you do your shape. Right, so your little job now, can you draw a shape with an area of 8 squares? And then can you draw a shape with an area of 14 squares? So that's your first little job to be getting on with. Okay, so here's the next one to have a go at. Can you draw yourself a shape with an area of 7 squares and a shape with an area of 13 squares? Okay, let's have a look what I drew. So this is my 7 squares. You might have had it looking a little bit different, as long as you've got 7 squares coloured in. And this is my 13 squares area. Again, yours might have been slightly different, as long as you've got 13 squares coloured. Okay. This time, we're going to start with this shape, and we've got to shade some more squares so that the whole area is 11. So have a think to start with. What area have we already got in the purple bit? Count how many squares are already in that purple part. How many more squares will you need to colour so that the purple and the new part all have an area of 11 squares? Okay, so pause the video while you work that one out now. Okay, so let's have a look what I did. I added a little bit here. So I know that the purple part was 6 squares, and I know that I need 5 more to get to 11. So I've added my 5 squares here onto this bit. But you might have put your 5 squares somewhere different. You might have put 4 in the same place as me, and maybe this one might have gone here. As long as you added 5 more squares to your shape so that you've got an area of 11. Okay, let's have a look at this one. Amir has created a shape. My shape has an area of 10 squares. Tick the shapes that Amir could have made. So which shapes on here have an area of 10 squares? Pause the video while you count them all up and see which have an area of 10 squares. Okay, let's have a look. This one had an area of 10. Well done if you spotted that one. This one had an area of 10. Well done if you spotted that one as well. And this one had an area of 10. So the only one that didn't, look, was that square there, because that has an area of 9. Well done with that one. Okay, so time for some drawing again now. Now this time you've got to draw 2 different rectangles, each with an area of 12 squares. So we can't just put our squares anywhere, we have to make ourselves a rectangle this time. Okay, pause the video while you have a go at making 2 different rectangles, each with an area of 12 squares. Okay, let's have a look what I made. So this is the first one I made. It has 12 squares, 6 along and 2 up. 2 rows of 6. And I also made this one. 4 rows, 3 columns. That makes an area of 12. Okay, you could have done one long thin rectangle, 12 squares long, just one row or one column, but you couldn't have fit it onto that grid. 4 by 3, 2 by 6, they're all the ones that you could have made an area of 12. Well done with those. Okay, next question. Add some more squares to this shape to turn it into a square. Now remember the rules of squares. All the sides have to be equal lengths. What will the area of the new square that you make be? And then how could you make a larger square? How many more squares would you need to add? And think about showing how you're working out. So you're going to need to do lots of drawing for this one. Okay, so pause the video while you have a go at these 3 questions. Okay, let's have a look at the answers. So add some more squares to turn it into a square. So I started with that one. And that one, I'm not a square yet. So I put 2 more here. Oh, and I'm beginning to think, oh, maybe I've made myself a square, but when I look carefully, it's 3 across and 4 down, so it's not a square yet. So I've got 4 squares added so far. 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm looking now, have I made myself a square? Have, because I've got 4 by 4 and I've added 8 more squares. So the area of the shape now that I've made is 16 squares. The total area, 4, add 4, add 4, add 4, 16 squares. Could I make a larger square? How many more squares will I need to add? So I could put myself 4 more here. I'm not making a square yet though. 4 more here, 1 here. I'm going to have a look. Have I made a square? Well, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down the side. 5 by 5 is a square. So I've made it now. So I've got an area of 25 squares. How many more squares did I need to add? Well, I added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more squares onto that. Well done if you had a really good go at that one. Next question. Dora and Tommy have drawn some rectilinear shapes. Tommy says he has made a different shape with the same area. Do you agree with Tommy? Explain your answer. Okay, pause while you have a think about this one. Okay, let's have a look at the answers. No, I don't agree with Tommy because he's actually just made the same shape as Dora. It's just that it's been turned around. So if you look carefully, this bit here is the same as this. So all he's done is he's turned that shape around and it's actually the same shape, just in a different direction. Okay, challenge for you now. So you might have some of those sticky notes and post-it notes at home, or you might have some square shapes, maybe in some toys, or you might even be able to just make yourself some square shapes out of some paper or some card that you've got at home. Make as many different rectilinear shapes with your squares as you can, and you can use 6. So get 6 squares of some kind. How many different shapes can you make? And you can send me some photographs of this challenge that when you've completed it, or you can draw out your different shapes on your squared paper, however you want to do it. Okay, so have fun with that challenge. I look forward to seeing all your different work from this video. Good luck. Bye for now.